Ikiwa ni awamu nyingine, mtazamaji na msikilizaji wa The Kenyan Daily Report, tunakujia hapa na taarifa ambazo zimegonga vyombo vya habari jioni ya leo, zikiwa ni taarifa zinazomhusu ambaye ni waziri wa public participation or public service, wacha nisiseme participation, public service hapa nchini Kenya, ambaye ni Justin Muturi, ambaye pia alipata kuhudumu katika mkondo wa kwanza wa serikali yake Rais William Ruto kabla ya maandamano ya Gen Z. Alihudumu kama Attorney General wa taifa la Kenya. Now, Justin Muturi, the Cabinet Secretary of Public Service, the other day came out calling upon the police service, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, and also the IG, Bwana Douglas Kanja, to reveal what were the charges that led to them abducting his son, Leslie Muturi, on 22nd of June, the year 2024, at the time that the Gen Z demonstrations had just started piling up, and the momentum was speaking for the Gen Z demos. Now, apart from that, he has also narrated on how President William Ruto made a phone call to the Director of National Intelligence Service while they were both in the State House, and the Director of National Intelligence Service, Nis Nordin Haji, promised that Justin Muturi, then the Attorney General, that his son would be released in an hour, and that is what happened. Now let's get down to the whole statement on the narration of how the son to Justin Muturi was released from police custody after President William Ruto's call. Not only did the president make the call, because Justin Muturi had also tried to reach out to other bodies and other leaders to help him get access to his son and to have his son released. Now, a statement by Justin Muturi Njoka. Name Justin Bedan Joka Muturi, PO Box 512 00200 Nairobi, ID number 029761, Residence Ridgeways, Nairobi. States as follows. I am the current Cabinet Secretary for Public Service. On the 22nd of June 2024 at 21:29, which was saa tatu jioni, I was meeting some friends in Gingiri when I received a phone call from Wairimo, the wife of my son, Leslie Muturi. She told me that she had been informed by Honorable Mark Mwenje that Leslie had been abducted a few minutes ago by armed hooded gangsters. She said they had just passed the roundabout on Dennis Print Road and turned onto Olegurone Avenue when the incident occurred. She stated that Leslie had been with Honorable Mark Mwenji and Marango Imanyara at Alfajiri having drinks, and they decided to go to a birthday party in Lavington. It was during this process that Leslie was waylaid and kidnapped. The kidnappers forced him into a vehicle and drove off, and she was unable to reach him on his phone. I tried calling Leslie's phone, but it was switched off. At the time, I was with my friend, Paul Modoka. After discussing the matter with him, I called the Inspector General, IG of Police, Japheth Koome, explained the situation, and he promised to circulate the information among various police stations and call me back. Shortly afterwards, Mark Mwenje called me from the scene and described what had happened. He said the vehicle that abducted Leslie was a white box Prado, and armed men brandishing AK-47 rifles and wearing hoods had blocked Leslie's car, opened the driver's door, and pulled him out while the car engine was still running. Mwenje noted that at the time he called me, Leslie's car engine was still running. I then called Raymond Omolo, the PS for Interior, and explained the abduction. He assured me that he would take action. I also attempted to reach the Director of Criminal Investigation, DCI, Mr. Mohammed Amin, but his phone went unanswered. I tried calling the National Intelligence Service, NIS Director General Nis Nordin Haji, but He did not answer either. After about an hour, I called the IG again, informed me that he had alerted all personnel on all routes, suspecting it might have been a robbery. However, I told him that based on the information provided by Mwenje, the abduction appeared to be security personnel rather than robbers. He seemed unconvinced, stating that there was no planned police operation that night. Several friends joined me at the scene and we continued making calls to various offices and individuals who might help in locating my son. I called Haremo Domolo a second time. He confirmed that he had contacted several agencies to assist in finding Leslie. However, he was still inclined to believe it was a carjacking. We learned that the police from Kilimani had gone to Citizen TV to obtain CCTV footage, but to obtain a CCTV footage, but the situation was initially reluctant to release it. The station was reluctant to release it. Honorable Dogo Gedenji, who had joined us, called Washira Waruru, the CEO of Citizen TV, explained the situation and requested any information that might help identify the vehicle. Waruru later sent us footage showing the events leading to the abduction. The footage showed Leslie driving out, followed by Mwenje. The footage also captured the Box Prado and another vehicle resembling a Probox following Leslie and Mwenje prior to the abduction. Around 3 a.m., I decided to send a WhatsApp message to the president informing him about my son's abduction. Around this time, someone gave me the contact number of Said Kiprotich Mohammed, the director of Anti-Terrorism Protection Unit, ATPU. As we had identified the Box Prado in the CCTV footage and learned that such vehicles were often used by ATPU, I called Mr. Mohammed, but he did not answer or respond to my text message since I could not reach him. I obtained the contact of his deputy James Onyango and called him. He said he would look into the matter but was unaware of any police operation that night. We eventually retired to our homes around 5 a.m. to freshen up. While at home around 8:15 a.m., James Onyango called and informed me that they had checked everywhere but there was no reported case of that nature. He promised to intensify their search efforts shortly afterwards. Said Kiprotich Mohammed called back, and after I explained the situation, he answered me that there was no ongoing operation and that ATPU was not involved. Given the anxiety at home where many relatives and friends had gathered, I informed them of the previous night's effort and left to continue the search. We returned to Gingiri and met with friends who had also been searching various police stations without success. Between 10 and 11 a.m., a friend from NIS called informing me that my son was being held by their people. I shared this information with my friends and it was agreed that I should call Nordin Haji again. Despite multiple attempts, he did not answer. Just before 1 p.m., I decided to call Professor Kindeke, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior. After explaining the entire situation, he expressed shock and assured me he would contact Nordin Haji 15 minutes later. Professor Kindeke called back, saying he had spoken with DG of NIS, Director General of NIS, who denied holding Leslie despite my insistence that I had confirmed information from an NIS officer that Professor Kedeke maintained that the DG could not be lying. We continued our inquiries and I checked my phone to see if the president had read my message. He had not. Shortly afterward, we saw the presidential helicopters heading towards State House. Knowing the president had been attending a church service in Nyandarua, I decided to drive to State House to see him in person. Upon arrival, I found that the president had just finished lunch with a group of MPs, including Mwangi Kionjori and Honorable John Kawanjiko. I waited until they finished their discussion. When Mwangi Kionjori concluded his conversation with the president, I approached. After greetings, I informed the president about my message and he explained that his phone had crashed due to an overload of messages. I then narrated the ordeal, including my interactions with various senior government officers who had been unable to help. I expressed my belief that NIS was holding my son. The president joked asking why would anyone want to arrest a young person over the Gen Z demonstration. He even mentioned that Kionjori's son and the sons of other officials had been involved in similar demonstrations. He then called his technician to check the status of his phone. Since it was still not functioning properly, I requested that he call Nordin Haji directly. Standing outside the pavilion, I heard the president ask Nordin Haji if he was holding my son. Nordin confirmed that indeed he was holding my son, and the president instructed him to release Leslie immediately. Nordin responded that Leslie would be released within an hour. After thanking the president, I drove out of State House and rejoined my friends in Gingiri and explained what had happened. Slightly over an hour later, Leslie called me to say he had been released and was at home. I then went home to see him. This is a true and accurate recollection of what transpired that night, just in bed and Muturi, date 14th January 2025. Now, listen to the account of the whole situation. How Muturi tries to explain the whole scenario of how things unfolded. Now, tell me, how should we Kenyans, people who don't have access to the National Intelligence Service Director Nordin Haji, people who don't have access to then Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, people who do not have access to Mohammed Amin's number, the DCI Director, people who do not have access to the IG of Police number, like currently how the wave of abduction has been going. Parents and people resort to only calling the media to try and air their stories so that if anybody is holding their son or their daughter, they can see the message via the media stations. Now that is the son of the then Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Being the Attorney General, this is the man that runs the cases of the state. And all these scenario wouldn't have unfolded the way it has unfolded. It's that when Muturi made that statement, the DCI and the National Police Service called upon him to make a statement and reveal how the whole scenario unfolded. Now, look at it. The king is naked. The president has been directly named in this on how he made a single phone call. It takes a phone call from the president for the National Intelligence Service Director to release the son of the Attorney General. Mwananchi wa kawaida, who will make a phone call for you? That's the question. If you listen to the whole story, come on, give me your ideology of what you think would happen. And then was a time that the Gen Z were just demonstrating. They had just started demonstrating. The momentum had not even peaked. And that is how normalization of abduction has just happened in our republic. For now, I leave it there. I remind you that this is the Kenyan Daily Report. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news and more updates. See you in our next video.